Six guys, three sports, no leash. This is the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. Football, hockey, and baseball the way it's meant to be. Loud, raw, and completely unfiltered.
Look at these two good-looking dudes. And you too, Shanker.
Oh, thanks, bud.
Welcome back to episode 4 of Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. I'm Gary Ray. We got Ian Shank and Brian Hawley with us. Glad to have you aboard. Wow, episode 4, folks. Just flattered that people are texting and DMing us, like, really seem to be a hit with people, and they love our reels. My goodness, I was looking at the metrics, and having those reels getting out, people seem to be resonating. I've had guys at the poker games saying, Razor, all that's coming across my feeds is your damn reels. Like, will you stop putting out reels? So thank you for everyone that's tuning in. And yeah, let's get started with some trending stuff.
This trending segment brought to you by Best Western Plus Arden Park Hotel, located at 552 Ontario Street, Stratford. Located steps from the Festival Theatre, while offering first-class accommodations with an extensive range of services, including conference center, banquet facilities, and heated indoor pool.
So I have to just say, Shanker, you were kind of getting in my head there, saying how I had already put on the banner about the Jays Game 7, and
It worked out.
Right? Lo and behold, they win Game 6 to force a Game 7, and yeah, it all worked out. Or actually, no, it was on the Monday night, so they were. Yeah, they were. I was putting Game 1 for the World Series. I think that's what I had on the banner, if I'm not mistaken. So,
you sure you don't work in Vegas with these odds and can predict things, or what?
I wish I did. But no, I just gotta. I'm down here at the Rogers Center again while they're playing Game 3 out in LA. So, for those of you that are just tuning in, we tape this on Monday nights. We're taping it early than we normally do, the three of us, and then the three extras that come on, just because we want to watch Game 3 tonight from LA. So we're glad to have you aboard. And let's talk about the first two games, Friday and Saturday. What did you guys see in Game 1, Halser?
Well, what more could you ask about the start of the World Series? Game 1, the Toronto Blue Jays showed the world what they're all about, what kind of game they play, and it was right there for everyone to see, and I thought it was fantastic. And then Game 2, the Dodgers answered, didn't they? They gave you, that was everything that the Dodgers are in a game: good pitching, good defense, a couple of clutch home runs later on, and then tack on runs at the end, and that's how you win as many games as the Dodgers win. So I thought the first two games were fantastic in the context of both teams showed us exactly what they're all about, and now we're going to go to LA and play 3, and I can't wait to see whose wheel comes on top in the next 3 games.
Shanker, what did you like about Games 1 and 2?
Well, I listened to Game 1 mostly on the radio on the way home from my son's hockey tournament, and I love listening to baseball on the radio. They do such a great job, but it's one of those roller coasters where you think the Jays left bases loaded in Game 1. They came back, they got the win, which was great. In Game 2, they had runners on scoring position 2 in the first inning and didn't score, and I think that cost them the game because Yamamoto was lights out.
Yep.
And the Jays like, oh, they lost. But let's remember, Gosman was throwing – he only had 76 pitches going to the 7th inning, or sixth inning, and Will Smith hit an inside fastball, which he should have never even hit to beat the Blue Jays. So I think the Jays did great. They won one game, which they had to do, and they were so close to winning 2 games.
I just think that it was so gutsy to put Trey Macho Man Savage into game 1. I thought they would probably have done it like they did with the ALCS and have him go game 2. But I think they want to have him. Let's face it, he's been their best pitcher this postseason. Gossman's been a close second, but the way Savage pitched against the Yankees and was able to get out of jams there against the Mariners, he earned that right. But he went up against Chris Snell. The thing that I thought was pretty cool was how the Jays worked Snell, because that was their keys. They wanted to get his pitch count up, get to their underbelly, which is the bullpen, their soft underbelly. Alex Vesia, one of their top leverage the past 2 years, he's out right now, and he's dealing with some family matters. And so once they were able to get to the like bullpen, it really changed things, because like you guys both had said, Savage didn't have his best stuff.
No.
He had a shaky start, but he limited the damage, struck out Ohtani in the first inning with a splitter, but he couldn't command his fastball. He had trouble locating it all night. And then because he was having trouble locating that fastball, he wouldn't throw that splitter. He went 32 pitches between his go-to pitch, 32 pitches between splitters, which was mind-boggling. And I was flipping between the Canadian and MLB versions, and they were both talking about it. Like, his confidence was that far down that he just did not feel comfortable throwing it.
Yeah, his ratio was 70% balls, 30% strikes Friday. I don't know if it was nerves or maybe it had to be nerves. That's all I can chalk it up to.
Right? He's what, 21, 22, Halser?
Yeah. I think he's 22, but I think you can chalk it up to the fact that he's 22 and you're not going to get his A stuff every night. You know, you look at a Max Scherzer, Shane Bieber. These are guys that have been around the major leagues, you know, over 10 years, and they know what they're doing. They know how to pitch. They know how to manage a game when they don't have their best stuff, whether it's one pitch or 2 pitches. You got to focus on others. I have trouble locating here. And so that's just the way it is with a kid like that. And the thing you really got to love is not only did he battle, but even when you don't have your best stuff, they couldn't tattoo him. Like, you know, I've seen many times where a guy doesn't have his best stuff and they just light him up, and you got to get him the hell out of there. The real key, I thought, was the 4th inning, because he came out in the 4th inning and he was already up into 60 odd, maybe close to 70 pitches. And he came out and went bang, 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 1, 2, 3 in the 4th. And I went, wow, dude, that was a great inning. That was exactly what you needed. Next thing you know, Varsho goes up there, hits a 2-run homer. The game is turned 180 degrees when it looked like the Dodgers were maybe one swing away from maybe, you know, closing the deal early on in the game. He gets 3 up, 3 down in the top. Varsho hits 2-run homer in the bottom. And that's exactly what I was talking about. That is Toronto Blue Jays baseball 2025 to a T, where everybody down the line is contributing for this team.
Yeah, he goes 4 and Savage goes 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. But what was really impressive was he had 8 base runners on. He only gave up the 2 runs. And he gave the offense a chance to believe that they were still in it at 0-2 before Varsho ended up hitting his homer. But with the Jays, with them being down, what I love about the Jays is when they're down 2 runs, they have the other team right where they want them. Yeah. Think about when they were down 0-2 against the Mariners, and you had Springer go up there. Like they have no fear. They had 49 come from behind wins in the regular season, tops in the league. and that was their fourth postseason come from behind win. Like, they're basically an offense who's relentless, and they love to wear down opposing pitchers. But going into the sixth, they had the bases loaded with none out. That's when they forced Snell out of the game, and they, ended up Dodgers ended up going to the bullpen. And I love Clements. Ernie comes up. He's only hitting 444 right now, folks. And the Jays serve the Dodgers notice. This ain't Milwaukee, folks. And I don't know if you guys saw it. I put it on our socials, but Dan Plesac called it on MLB Network. He was talking before the game about Barger, and I forget the other guy's name who was on with him. And he says, "You're talking about a guy that isn't even starting, and he's going to come in and pinch hit." And Plesac called it in the seventh, eighth, or ninth inning. He's going to come in and hit one. And man, was he right. But Kirk added a 2-run homer. And that 9-run sixth inning just served notice to the Dodgers that, we are no Milwaukee by any stretch. But only 7 of you Savage's 70 batted balls have been fielded by second basemen. So I think, just looking at the metrics, that's why they had Jimenez playing over at short. He's your best fielder. He gets all the action there. So, you just got to look at,
it's second base, man. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
If you're going to stick somebody somewhere, you stick them at second base.
Right. And the thing that's interesting too is I obviously we don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if they're saying, you know what, Bo? We got Jimenez very comfortable under contract for the next 5 years. He could be our shortstop. So you better make sure that you don't get too carried away with your negotiations with him coming up this summer. So that's going to be interesting, keeping an eye on that. But in game 2, you guys hit the nail on the head. Yamamoto, he pitches his second complete game. He pitched a complete game in the last series against Milwaukee, back-to-back complete postseason games. He retired the final 20 batters. Like, this guy is lights out. He's taking notes in between innings. Like, the guy is like a professor out there. And, I got to admit, I hadn't seen a whole lot of him. I don't watch a lot of Dodgers game with them being on the West Coast, but this guy is lights out.
And he only threw 105 pitches for a complete game, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I think in the 7th inning, he was at like 60 pitches or something. And the Jays pitching has been good too, because you look at the Dodgers top 4, they've done nothing. It's Will Smith and Muncy doing all the damage for them right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
go ahead.
He's got an unbelievable combination of pitches. He's got, I think, 6. And there were a couple of moments in the game that really stood out for me. And it was, I think, Vladdy's third at bat in the 5th inning, I think. And he'd been mowing him down. He had the trouble in the first, but he's been mowing him down after that. Excuse me. And of course, anytime Vladdy is up, it was still 1-0. And he starts him off with a cutter. And he didn't even throw a cutter until he threw that one to Vladdy in the 5th. And the guys on Fox are like, well, hold on a second. He's got a cutter. Nobody even knew. And of course, Smoltz knows, because Smoltz may not have the best delivery, but he's about the smartest guy out there.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, he's got 6 pitches. He throws the cutter, and he can throw the splitter, and he can throw the curveball. And that was the other thing too, is that you're getting used to whether it's going to be 97 up or the splitter down. And then about every 15th pitch, he drops this Chris Bassett-like 74-mile-an-hour hook. Yeah, boom. Just drops it in the basket. You can't do anything but stare at it and giggle. So, I mean, it was just an unbelievable performance. And you know what? If Toronto's going to win the World Series, you better win the games when that fella ain't pitching.
Right.
Because I don't know if they're going to beat him next time, even though they've all seen him now.
Well, that's his back-to-back complete games. He went 9 innings. He threw a complete game against Milwaukee and only gave up 1 run.
Yeah, well, it's one thing to do it to Milwaukee. It's another thing entirely to do it to the best offense in the American League. And that was just masterful. He's the only guy. he's the only guy they've seen in this postseason that they just went, no, bring on the next guy. I can't hit this fella.
You're going to see him in Game 6 if it gets there.
That's what I'm saying. If
it's
you're
scary.
going to win this series, you better be up 3-2 going back to Toronto, because it's going to be Yamamoto.
Yeah.
Well, what I thought was interesting was Springer in the bottom of the first. He gets a double. Then Lucas singles. You had runners on the corners with none out. The place could have erupted. All Yamamoto does is he strikes out Guerrero. He retires Kirk on a soft liner to Freddie. And then he froze Varsho on a called third strike.
And that was the first of those 74-mile-an-hour curveballs too.
Yeah.
That was filthy, that pitch.
Yeah. Varsho, just couldn't do anything but
just
basically tip his. Yeah. He walks away, and that's basically what he did. So, all right. Well, hopefully the Jays go up 2-1 tonight. The game's at 8:00 out in LA, 5:00 their time. So we're hoping that the next time we're talking about this, that the Jays, the series actually will be over. Hopefully we're talking about the Jays being World Series champions. So anything else for this, guys, before we head into End Zone and Fantasy?
Well, go ahead, Shanker.
I just think if the Jays are going to be successful on the West Coast, and if they have runners in scoring position, they got to cash them somehow. They can't leave runners stranded out in LA, or they're not going to win. That's
playing small ball, which they could have maybe.
They should have, yeah. Give up an out, score, because the Dodgers are going to give up the run. Just take the out in the first inning, but runs are going to be so scarce out there, I think.
Yeah.
I like them tonight. Now, by the time folks see this, it's going to be Wednesday, and they'll know whether I know what the hell I'm talking about or not. I like him against Glasnow tonight. Yeah. He's the kind of guy they can fight against. They faced him in the regular season. I think it was 2 runs after 5 innings or something like that. They didn't pound him around, but they hit him okay, and now they've got some info. And so I think they'll score some runs tonight. I see a higher scoring game. I'm on the over anyways, on the bet anyway. We'll see whether I know what I'm talking about or not.
Yeah, because the Jays get Ohtani tomorrow, right? So this is they got to win tonight.
This is the must-win game right
here.
Now. Well, it's playoffs, man. It's a World Series. They're all must-win.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's get into End Zone and Fantasy.
End Zone and Fantasy. Brought to you by TNT Security, Inc., where security meets reliability. Call Todd Schmidt today for a security quote on your concert, dance, sporting, and alcohol event, business, property, or mobile patrol security.
End Zone and Fantasy. I wanted to give a shout out to our sponsors, good people, Greg and Andrea Hayter at the Best Western Arden Park Hotel. Had a good conversation with Greg this morning. He's going to give us a little donation for our fundraiser we got going on Saturday. I'm going to talk about that again at the end of the podcast. We doing a Fill the Shelves drive with the Stratford Connection Center in conjunction with St. Paul's Church and the Boathouse Stratford. They're looking to fill their shelves with the cold weather now here. But shout out to Greg and Andrea Hayter, who do an amazing job at the Best Western, and Todd Schmidt with TNT Security, Inc. for all your security needs. All right, with End Zone and Fantasy, I think the best job in the world is to become NCAA Division I football coach and then get fired. How about Brian Kelly? He's the latest axeman. He got the boot from LSU, and he's negotiating right now as we speak. He's owed almost $54 million. I think it's $53.9 million because they fired him before December 1st. And he joins a long list of coaches that have been kicked to the curb. Penn State's James Franklin, he was paid out $49 million for hitting the road. And all the coaching vacancies at the Power 4 schools that are available: LSU, Florida, Penn State, UCLA, Arkansas, Virginia, Oklahoma State, and Stanford. Like, it's just crazy. Get a job, get fired, and take the buyout. Now, they're not all that high, unfortunately, but it was mind-boggling. So,
But it's not like he lost to a bunch of scrubs. 3 of their 4 losses have been the top 20 opponents.
right.
And I know they're all division opponents, but man, it's cutthroat down there.
It's one of those, what have you done for me lately? Like, they had high hopes luring him away from Notre Dame to come down to LSU. And at the end of the day, it's your job is based on wins and losses. And when you're losing, like that was LSU's, I think, second or third loss. And like they just demand better. They're not even in the top 25 anymore because of that loss. But getting to the top 12 that are currently in the playoffs, if the playoffs started today, you got Ohio State. They're still at number 1. There's no change. They're at 7-0. They didn't play this weekend. Number 2, Indiana. They're at 8-0. There's no change with them. They stay at number 2. They beat UCLA at home 56-6.
They can score. They're a scary team.
They really are.
Right.
They and their head coach has been talked about being lured away to some of these openings because he's done that good of a job in Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. They're 8-0, no change at number 3. They are the ones that took down LSU in Death Valley, 49-25. Number 4, Alabama. They stay at number 4, no change at 7-1. They beat South Carolina 29-22 on the weekend. Number 5, Georgia. They stay at number 5, no change. They didn't play. They're at 6-1. Number 6, Oregon. They stay at number 6, no change. They're 7-1. They beat Wisconsin at home 21-7. Number 7, Ole Miss. I love this game. They move up 1 spot to number 7. They're 7-1. They walked into Oklahoma and beat the Sooners 34-26. And it was funny. One of the Oklahoma players was trying to talk to Lane Kiffin as he was being interviewed afterwards. And he says, "You don't got much to say now. You were talking a lot of shit before during the game." He says, "You aren't saying too much now." And then Kiffin walked away, and he had no response to that. So number 8, Georgia Tech, they moved down 1. They're at 8-0. How do you move down? You win, but you move down 1 notch. They won at Syracuse 41-16. Vanderbilt, they move up 1. They're at 7-1. They're becoming the Cinderella team. They won at Missouri 17-10. Did you guys happen to see on College Game Day how Pat McAfee has that little thing where they kick a field goal? They had a guy kick a 33-yard field goal or attempt for $500,000. So he got to keep $500,000, and then they also donated another $250,000 for charity. And the guy ended up making it. Now, before he kicked it, he says, "Have you ever kicked a ball this far?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I used to be the kicker for the Vanderbilt team." So it was kind of hilarious. So if he didn't make it, that would have been probably a bigger story. Number 10, BYU. They move up 1. They're 8-0. They won at Iowa State 41-27. Number 11, Miami. They moved down 1, even though they won. They're at 6-1. They won at home to Stanford. Miami hasn't had to leave the state of Florida yet. That's interesting. I think this weekend's their first game out of the state of Florida. So number 12, Notre Dame. They stay at 12. There's no change. They did not play. They're still at 5-2. And then quickly, some of the notables that are on the outside looking in. Tennessee's at 14. Oklahoma, they lost to Ole Miss, like we said. They moved down 5 spots to 18. Texas is at 20. They move up 2 spots. And my Michigan Wolverines move up 4 spots. They went into East Lansing, Michigan, and beat Michigan State 31-20. So that's our report for college. I wanted to talk about a few games here on the weekend. I know it wasn't a real exciting game, but everybody loves the Bills. What did you guys think of their 40-9 drubbling of the Panthers in Carolina? Did either one of you guys see that one?
I watched the first half of what I'll just call the Red Rocket Show. I always have a policy when I coach, and it's the same when I cheer for my teams. We accept all donations.
Exactly.
And the Red Rocket was in a very giving mood. He was already in the Christmas spirit, it seemed. 3 turnovers. I tell you what was important about that game. The reason that game was not 3 turnovers. 3 starters for the Buffalo defense, 2 guys that had been suspended for the first 6 games, 2 guys on the D-line, and then Hairston, their number 1 draft pick at corner, was dressed for the first time as well. So even though they didn't have Milano or Bernard, they brought in 3 guys, and they were in 7 sacks, dude. They were in the backfield all day long. And I thought that was part of it. And as good as all that was, that doesn't even allow me to talk about the guy. Oh yeah. The guy ran for 200 yards, only the
James
third
Cook
to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only the third Bill to do that ever, man. Not since the Juice. Has
The
anybody
Juice, would the other 2 be the Juice and Thurman Thomas?
No, it was somebody from way back, and I'm terrible with names.
No,
I'm not going to remember.
We'll have to fact check that one.
Fact check me later. But OJ was one, and there's one more from in the way back, like back in the old AFL days, I think.
Wow, not Thurman. I would have thought Thurman, but yeah, you're right. He didn't need to always put up.
Remember when Thurman
games.
was there? Jim Kelly was passing for 300 yards a game, and he was running for 100. But that's take the rest of the day off back in those days. But that's just so awesome to get the run game. And Bills fans have been screaming it for weeks. Just give him the damn ball. He's one of the best running backs in the league.
Yeah.
He just signed him to a huge free agent contract. What was it, $15 million a year? Give him the rock, dude.
Yeah.
Let James cook. And they finally did. And look what happens.
Well, it's fun because Josh Allen likes to run the ball too, but he only had 7 yards.
Yeah, one of them for rushing TD.
Yeah, but usually he can scamper like the best.
Yeah, but they're not, like I said, they were running over the left side in behind the big fellas on the left there. And, it looked like the old Dallas Cowboy days when Emmitt Smith wouldn't get touched for the first 5 or 6 yards of the run.
Yeah.
He'd get hit at 6 yards and fall over and get 8. And they just did that. And then he busted the big one. And then he busted another one later on, I think a 20 or 25 yarder for a second touchdown. And that's what Bills fans want to see, run the football. And then when Josh needs to go crazy, then Josh can go crazy. But don't want Josh going crazy all the time. There's an old line, right? You got a Maserati that does 185. Doesn't mean you drive him that speed all the time, right? Run the football, and then Josh will go nuts later on.
The Bills look like a team rediscovering form. They were down going into their bye week, but I get it. It was the Panthers, but still, they got to rev it up because they got the Chiefs next week. So the Bills sit at 5-2. They're second in the AFC East behind the Patriots. And that puts the Panthers. Well, the Panthers aren't going to make the playoffs anyways, but they're at 4-4. But only second in the NFC South behind the Bucks. Okay, let's get into the other team that we talked about in the AFC that everyone should be afraid of, the Colts, how they manhandled. Once again, it was the Titans, but they manhandled them 38-14. I think the offensive player of the year is already decided. Unless something strange happens, Jonathan Taylor had 3 more TDs for the 4th time this year. Like, the guy is an absolute wrecking ball, averaging 12.8 yards per carry, 4th best since 2000. Like, that's insane. On pace for 29 TDs, where the record is currently held still by LaDainian Tomlinson. But he's moved into the number 1 overall fantasy football player, averaging 27.1 points in PPR. Like, he's just scary good.
averaging 27 points a week.
Averaging, right?
That's insane.
It's crazy.
I stayed away from him in all 4 of my fantasies because he's a Band-Aid. The last 2 or 3 years, he's been an absolute Band-Aid. And so I thought, and I ended up taking Christian McCaffrey, but McCaffrey wasn't hurt on the weekend. He caught him and Baker Mayfield had crappy weeks. So I'm out of my guillotine. I had made it to the final 5, but now I'm out. But that's fun. If you guys get a chance, go into a guillotine league because as teams get knocked out, so now McCaffrey and Baker Mayfield go into the waiver wire. And so it's interesting. Like it's basically 2 all-pro teams that are going to play for the finals. It's amazing. Highly, highly recommend. But
I was in one.
Yeah, you got knocked out early. Like, was it week 1?
I enjoyed the 1 week of the guillotine pool that I was in. I drafted guys like Jaden Daniels and Chase Brown.
Yeah.
And, they have not been very good at all. So
Brown's starting to come on now that Flacco's there because they got to be aware of he can throw it. Unlike, the other guys that were there filling in for Burrows. But, yeah, I feel your pain, man. It's so frustrating because there was a guy I was telling Shanker before we came on air. All I needed was McCaffrey and Mayfield to play okay, and I would have survived. There was another guy that had a crappy week, but anyways.
Yeah, I think Mayfield had 1 fantasy point.
Yeah, it was awful.
Wow.
It was awful. The other game, the Sunday nighter, the Rodgers revenge game, the Packers and the Steelers. The Packers take down the Steelers in Steeltown, 35-25. The Packers 5-1, first in the NFC North. And you've still got the Steelers at 4-3. They're first in the AFC North. But
how ugly were their jerseys last night?
Brutal.
I didn't know this. I didn't know the Savannah Bananas played football.
That's pretty much it.
Brutal.
Yeah.
But what a statement by Green Bay, though. They were down 10 points.
Yeah.
And blew the doors off offensively. They couldn't stop them, and that was quite a statement by Green Bay last night. They
couldn't stop tight end Tucker Kraft. He stole the show, and I had him in one of my fantasies. I picked him up on waivers a few weeks ago, and he had 2 TDs, 142 yards, career night for him. Jordan Love, 3 TDs, 360 yards. At one point, he completed 20 straight passes. And the one thing that I didn't realize, that was the first game that Rodgers had played against the Packers since he left Green Bay. I didn't realize that. I thought, maybe he had played, but yeah, so that was interesting. It was kind of nice to see him. He was Aaron Rodgers is prickly. And when he left Green Bay, I don't think there was tension between him and Jordan Love. So it was kind of cool to see them genuinely embrace at midfield after the game was over, because that's what Brett Favre was like to Aaron Rodgers. He was a prick to him. And I guess the story goes early in training camp, Rodgers was trying to break the ice like Brett Favre was a god in Green Bay. And so he made a joke at lunchtime, and the guys laughed about the joke. And Brett Favre needled Rodgers his whole time in Green Bay, did not like Aaron Rodgers. So, but the top PPR performers in week 8, Jonathan Taylor, obviously 37.4 points. James Cook, 33.6. Saquon, welcome back to the show. He had 33.4. Tucker Kraft, like I said, 33.3. And then Breece Hall, another guy, welcome back to the show, running back for the Jets. He had 32.9. And then finally, the top waiver wire picks you should be looking at for week 9. Tyrone Tracy, running back for the Giants. Oh my God, did you see that ankle dislocation by Cam Scattaboo on the weekend? It was great. And it was a nothing play. Goes up for 5-yard catch, but when he comes down, the defender buckles his ankle. And it was one of those Moises Alou sitting on first base there where the ankle was going 90 degrees the wrong direction. But so pick up Tyrone Tracy. He's only rostered in 49% of pools. Harold Fannin, tight end for the Browns. He's on 46% rosters with Najoiku still out. Dylan Sampson, running back for the Browns. He's going to be somebody that you should have on your radar with Quinshawn Judkins day-to-day. He's only on 13% of people's fantasies. But they're on their bye week, though, the Browns, so you want to get those guys and stash them. Another guy is Trey Benson, running back for the Cardinals. He's coming off his bye week, but neither Knight or Carter have stood out since Benson's been hurt. He's probably going to take over the RB1 duties again. He's on 55% of fantasy teams. So that's it for fantasy, end zone and fantasy. We're going to queue up our Warriors insider, Jason Clark, who's sitting in the queue. So let's hear from our sponsors and we'll get to Clarko.
Buzzin' with Clarko, a weekly roundup of the Stratford Warriors with Jason Clark, brought to you by Nick Hishin of Indy Mortgage, the independent mortgage company serving customers from coast to coast with access to well over 50 lending options available. Give Nick a call as he works for you, not the banks. FISRA license number 12403.
Gentlemen.
Hey,
Clarky.
How are you,
Clarko's
fellas?
in the house. How are you, brother?
Once again, I'm very well. Very well. How are you guys? Good weekend?
Good. Yeah,
Couple
really
hangovers, couple J games, full day of football,
Wasn't
eating
that
junk.
exciting? Right?
Yeah.
You know what? You say that, and that is bang on. Last night before Sunday night football, I don't have a sweet tooth. I have a salty tooth. So I went down to the corner store and I got a nice big bag of hickory sticks. I haven't had them since Joe's Variety when I used to go down there and spend my money on fun sticks and all sorts of goodies there with Joe Paola. But how about you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Couple hockey games, a couple ball games, long day on the couch watching football, and yeah,
Nice.
things were good. And I found my way to the bottom of a couple bags of chips as well. So hits just keep on coming.
Love it. Well, Jen must be wife of the year. You're gone, with the Warriors. You're allowed to watch football. My goodness, you should be letting all the other husbands know all your secrets, or maybe you shouldn't, right?
I'm very, very lucky, and she's very, very patient. So
that's good.
It's worked out. Yeah, the 5 to 6 nights a week at the rink. Not that I'm doing it that much this year, but for the last 30 years, it's been that. And yeah, she's a blessing for sure.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I hope she's feeling better. I know she was under the weather there a little while ago, so hope Jen's feeling better and back to herself, Clarko.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, she is feeling better. So thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
So 3 out of 4 points again. Not a bad weekend.
It's a good run to be on. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, even though it could have been 4, you don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth, but 3 out of 4, you'll take that all year long. Friday night, you had the London Nationals come to town. What happened there? I got to admit, I had to watch game 1 of the World Series, so I had to catch it on replay. But what did you see while you were rolling those hot dogs up in the gondola?
You and everybody else stayed home to watch the Jays. So, actually, we had a pretty decent crowd. It was Aces night, so that's another special night. And something that I hold dear to me, too, after spending a lot of times with the Aces organization throughout my daughter's playing years with that organization. So that was great to see the kids in there yelling and screaming and running around. So London's always a tough game. I mean, everybody on here knows they've had a great start to the season, a team that works really hard, skates really, really well, some high-end talent, and they got nastiness to their game as well. So it was a tough night. The few people that were there, I've talked to them in the community since, and they really did enjoy that game Friday night because it was back and forth and some physicality to the game. We gave up 2 power play goals. But we're able to find a way here. Late in the third period, Max Wildfong scored a great goal off the rush on the power play. Really good catch and release for our third goal, and then we were able to get an empty netter late to seal the deal there. But a great game, and much of what we expected from London.
Well, as I was watching the highlights, I'm really getting excited with what I'm seeing of Noah Bender. He stopped 17 of 19 shots. Not a real busy night again, and that's because of you guys are just like the New Jersey Devils there of the 90s. You play a tight defensive game, but my gosh, he flashed the leather on Cruz Ferguson in the third when the game was at 1-1. Ferguson, he put his arms up in the air. He thought that was in. And Bender flashes the leather, and with him being a righty, it was beautiful. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better save at a better time. And then shortly after that, Menard goes down, like you said, off wing, puts you guys up 2-1, and then the empty netter with Wildfong. But just a gorgeous save. What else did you see with Bender on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we've talked about a few times here, right? He just looks so comfortable in the net, and I think that just breeds confidence to our group. And that save you're talking about, that there isn't much more of a point blank chance, right? It was a puck that kind of bounced loose to the slot, and that London player got it off right away, and it was going for the top corner, and he just had quicker hands there and was able to grab that puck. So nothing but positive things and everything that we're seeing from Noah now that he's landed here and got more comfortable, and things are going well, and the team's playing confident in front of him.
I thought Vader made a nice pass. I think it was in it was the second period, over to McGurn, and sent McGurn in on a semi breakaway. But just a beautiful, pass in between a couple of London defenders and sent McGurn in. But you guys are just seeming to gel. Like you're still missing your top scorer, even though you've got your two top scorers right now have 10 points. Jonas Schmidt, when he's healthy, probably is going to be your top or one of your top scorers. I think it's Slattery and Kipfer right now are your top two scorers with 10 points each. But you're doing all of this without him, and I don't think Green played Friday, did he? Or
he did, yeah.
Oh,
Greener
he did
was
play.
back
Okay.
this weekend, yeah.
Okay, so Greener's back, but hopefully Jonas is on the mend, and I know he's got some bumps and bruises. But what did you guys see on Sunday down in Waterloo? You lose 3-2 in a shootout, something like last Sunday in St. Thomas. You had a 2-0 lead and let the Siskins get back into it.
Yeah, they scored a couple really nice goals too, and it's always an adjustment going to play in Waterloo for the first time, especially for the new guys on your team, right? It's such a big ice surface, so much more area to cover for everybody, and sometimes you get caught. And they scored a couple nice goals. Like if I think back to their two goals, their first one was just a rip over the shoulder of Gage, real good shot from top of the circle to the hash mark area. And then their second goal was a real nice play from behind the net. A guy kind of spun off a check and a backhand pass to a one-timer right in the slot. So two real good goals that they scored. We were able to capitalize on the power play a couple times. It was another good back-and-forth game. It was much like Friday night with London. A little less physical, I would say. But I think that's part of the ice as well. You got a lot more room to run and hide in that rink than you do playing in Stratford. You get caught a little bit quicker, but real good game. And, I got to mention Gage Hurst, right? He hasn't played for a few weeks now since Noah arrived, and he's still a 15-year-old kid. And he really stood in there and stood tall and played real well and stopped, 3 of 5 in the shootout as well. So, real good showing by him after sitting for a little bit and just biding his time, waiting to go. And, the team played well too. It just we came up short in the skills competition at the end of the night.
Well, you mentioned Hurst, 15 years old, stops 32 of 34 shots, and like you said, he hasn't played in a little while with Bender taking over the number one duties. What do you guys tell him? What do you think a guy like him is thinking coming in? Is, being a good teammate, bide my time, what do you think his mindset is with knowing that Bender's your number one guy?
Yeah, I think it's just about getting better every day, right? I mean, he's a very young player, very excited about his hockey future. He was drafted into the OHL. And, we think he's in a good spot to learn and develop with our hockey club. He knows he's not going to get called every night, but he knows he has to continually get better and work hard in practice each week to know that when his number does get called, he's ready to go. And he gives us just as good a chance in the net as Noah would when it's his turn to play. So I think it's just being consistent, getting comfortable with playing junior hockey, and living away from home. I don't know that he's lived away from home before, but he's definitely a few hours away from home, and that could be tough on a young guy as well. So our coaching staff and Normie's in his ear every week. If you come to a practice, you would see him. Lots of conversations with him there too, and you know what? I really think he's settled in a little more since Noah arrived. So whether it's because of all of Noah's experience and the chats that they might have, between the drill, the two goalies are sharing a drink and sharing a conversation. I think it's really, really helped him. And he looked really comfortable yesterday in Waterloo. So it's great to see.
It's nice that you're able to give Bender the day off every now and then. And like Waterloo's no slouch. And it's not like as if, you had the new Hamburg Hans in town or anything like that. Like, you're dealing with a Waterloo team that always comes to play. And that's great that you can get Gage playing and comfortable so that, heaven forbid, something ever happens to Bender, then you can go to him without, too much trouble. You guys are going to have a busy week coming up. You got one game. You guys go down to LaSalle on Wednesday, and then you're off for the weekend. Tell us a little bit about what's going on this weekend.
Yeah, the old Wednesday night rip to LaSalle. So I will be watching that one on Flow Hockey. And then this weekend we're doing our annual trip. We usually take a trip each year with the team. In my time here in this role, we've kind of rotated through going to a college in the States for a weekend or going to an NHL game where we get a suite. And it's just, I think it's really important to get the team away kind of early. We're a couple months into the season or a month and a half into the season here and get away for a weekend together and not play hockey. I think it's important. I just do that the guys get together and chum around and don't worry about Willie honking on the whistle, screaming at everybody for 2 hours. It's nice for them to get away and socialize with him as well and the staff. And it's a great opportunity. And the big benefit of going to Bowling Green is Dennis being there, a former Stratford Culleton and a brother to our head coach. And so we get treated like gold down there, our guys, and they get a tour and they get in to watch a game and they talk to some of the players and even a little more familiarity right now. Ty Higgins and Tyler Hodson both playing for Bowling Green this year. So both of those guys have real tight relationships with some of the guys on our team, and both being local guys here, it just feeds into our guys going down and really enjoying and supporting those guys and getting to see them and chat with them. So we're heading down for 2 nights. We're going to catch both games against Bemidji State this weekend, Friday and Saturday, and then no doubt a long bus ride home Sunday.
Yes, they are. I remember when we went down, they did the same thing for our 85, 86 team and took us down to BG, and it was a riot. Great team bonding, and, might have gone to the odd frat party and after the games, but just a great idea. And I'm sure you guys are going to have a heck of a time like you always do. So
yeah, it goes over well, and it's a really good bonder for the group, I think, and spending that much time together. So looking forward to it again.
Excellent. All right, Clarky. Well, thanks for doing this. Make sure you guys have a great weekend. And so no games for the Stratford Warriors this weekend, just Wednesday night in LaSalle. Jason Clark, Director of Hockey Operations, thanks so much for doing this as always, brother.
Thanks for having me once again, guys. And I got to give a shout out to Nick Hishin for his sponsorship. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Hish. We appreciate it here. And once again, guys, great to see you and chat Warriors, and go Jays go.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, Clarky.
See you, boys.
See you, Clarky.
You can't put a price on a good time. Chester's Perch, the Lincoln's Report, brought to you by the Boathouse Stratford, located at 30 York Street. Come see us down at the Avon River for pedal boats, kayaks, canoes, Juliet boat tours, and bike rentals. Enjoy great food and ice cream at the Riverside Patio Restaurant. Pet friendly and operated by the Her family since 1965.
Chris Jessel's in the house. Chester, how are you?
What is up, boys?
Hey, are you safe wearing that hat in that house?
Oh, that's why I'm wearing it. It's just World War III in here, so I might as well just jump on, right? So
Just putting some salt
right.
on the wound.
Every father's right to just wind up his
absolutely.
teenager.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I didn't make him a Dodger fan, so I'm not taking responsibility for any of this.
It's still being judged as a parental fail, Chess. I'm sorry. I made a few of my own. My kid cheers for the Seahawks, but listen, we'll get him switched over. He'll be cheering for the Bills soon enough.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
That's awesome.
Just a little bit going on, eh, boys? Not a bad weekend for sports.
Yeah, so we tell our viewers that we tape it on Monday night, so by the time this gets released at 6 a.m. on Wednesday morning, a lot has gone on. So games 3 and 4 will have already been played, but exciting times. Like, I know people that I've been talking to on the street, people that aren't even Jays fans, they admit that they've caught the fever, right? Like all the bars are loving this, whether it's in Vancouver or out to St. John's. Like everyone has caught Jays fever, and it's just a good time for
Jays wear is everywhere. It's everywhere you look, somebody's wearing Jays stuff.
Yeah. But hey, we're all old enough. We're all old enough to remember, right? Like,
exactly.
We were all there. We were at that prime age, like 18 to 20. I won't say what you were, Halser, but 18 to 24, 25, that was the prime. Like, I remember going to Dave Dubrick's basement with Founcey and Mackey and Whitey and a bunch of Hiller guys, and my God, the roof almost came off that place when Joe Carter hit the home run. And
oh my God,
that's something I can't even wrap my head around the fact that it's been 35 years. Because we feel like we're 30. Yeah, well, we went downtown shortly thereafter, and
people
it was a good night all the way.
Pickup trucks. And it was wild.
Yeah. So I hope
good
for all
times.
the kids right now, they get to go through the same experience in a couple days here. So
everybody's kid but yours, Chess. Everybody's kid but yours.
Yep, that's right. That'll be his loss.
Well, I loved it because I posted that picture that you had posted on our group chat of him down at the Rogers Center with the shirt "Bring It On." That got just on Instagram alone. On TikTok, over 700 views. Like, people are just eating that up, right? So can't wait to have him
on our walk at Wildwoods night. He said there were 771 views as of about an hour and a half ago. So there you go.
Amazing. And he's not even saying anything. It's just a picture.
He doesn't need to.
Right?
Better when he's not.
Friday night he was talking a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, we got into it a little bit at the Lincoln's game on Friday night. He walks by me every time to go ring that horn of his, and he's dressed to the nines, wearing his coat and his hat. And I may have
Dodgers
or may
stuff.
not have said some stuff. Some stuff was said. Everybody's okay though, don't worry.
You poke the bear, Halser. You poke the bear.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was kumbaya after that.
He was really mad when I told him there was no way they're winning game 1. The Jays just eat up lefties. They can't win. You're going to be down 1-0. Get used to it now, kid. And he was nope, we're winning. We're winning every game. We're sweeping. Okay.
All right. Well, we got to get Chester talking about the Lincolns here. It's called Chester's Perch, St. Mary's Lincolns recap for a reason, but bit of a blowout Friday night. the Rockets come in and you guys blow them out of the water 10-2. It was basically point night. Von Barr stopped 34 of 36 for the Lincolns, but the shots on goal were both 36 each. That's what I'm looking at the box score, trying to scratch my head going, what the heck happened? Like Mason Costa only had a 722 save percentage. They didn't pull him. Like, why didn't head coach Matt Bowes put Seth Ronan in? Like, I didn't understand. Why did he leave him in for all 10?
Well, that's a good question. It was
Right.
it was a fairly competitive game for the first period and a bit. I think we were pretty much sleepwalking. I think Halser, you probably got a better view of it than I did, but yeah, kind of a rough first period. Both teams kind of lulled themselves to sleep, 8 shots each, and I think to that point he had played pretty well. And then Strathroy came in and got two fairly quick ones to start the second, and then the wheels kind of fell off real quick. And I don't know if things just happened too quick for him to react to make the goalie change, or he just decided, you know what, one of those nights where you're just gonna learn.
Yeah.
You're gonna, sometimes it's not always the bad thing, but
Maybe
he has a bit
Ronan
of a
was
fire in his
nursing an
belly.
injury. Who knows,
Oh,
right? But I
yeah,
just
you
thought
never know.
I thought it was interesting that he left him in. But
Yeah.
the top scorers that night, like I said, it was point night. You had Kelp with 6 points, 3 and 3. Elzinga 6 points, 2 and 4. Heath had 5 points, a goal and 4 helpers. Hodkinson 2 and 1. McQueen Spence 2 goals. You had 5 power play goals and 1 shorty. Like what what do you say
Well,
about that, right?
yeah. Well, I think it's been a long time coming for that kind of an explosion. We haven't had a game like that since the first game of the season against Sarnia way back in September. So I know we've been playing a lot better the last 7-8 games for sure, but it was really nice to see us put up a bunch of goals, because that has been the one thing, even though we've been playing well and defensively and doing a lot of things right, we're still having trouble scoring goals. So it was really nice to see that explosion. Kids like Cal, like the guy is such a great leader on this team, and stay-at-home defenseman. He had a couple big goals in the playoffs last year down the stretch. But yeah, for him to come out and have a night like that's fantastic. And then some of the young guys, like you said, Heath, kind of have a breakout game. And it wasn't the same usual guys. Lincoln Moore's out. He's been out all weekend, nursing a bit of a small injury. Hopefully he's back next weekend. So not having the big gun in the lineup, for them to go out and get those goals is great, right? And much similar to the Leaf or the Jays game, it would have been nice for them to save a couple of those goals for Saturday night's game. But
Right.
we can get into that.
Yeah, you could have used the goals there for sure. Before we go, I just wanted to mention the fighting majors that the Rockets, Mark Harrion and Clark from you guys had a little dust up. So glad to see that nobody got hurt in that dust up, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right?
Well, Strathroy, they've also been a playoff opponent of us, it seems, the last 3 or 4 seasons every year in the first round. And there's a little bit of bad blood still kicking around. But the Clarkie on the Lynx there, he's a big, tough kid, and he goes hard, and he's not going to back down for anybody. And we've seen that a couple times now this season and it's great. We know that we do have a lot of skill on this team, so it's nice to have a guy with a lot of skill, but also a little bit of, bread and butter and all that other good stuff, right?
Right.
Just gives him a little bit of toughness up there, especially if he's going to be on a line with Moore and McQueen Spence a lot. Hey, you got to protect those guys. So like the way that kid plays, no doubt about it.
Halser, what did you see Friday night? Recapping.
Well, I think it's important to note that in a 10-2 game, Strathroy had a 2-0 lead in the second period. Like, all those 10 goals came in the second half of the game. And the second one was what really woke them up. Now, missing Moore, they switched up the lines. I heard an interesting notation from a guy who walked by me between the first and the second periods. He said, let me tell you about that period. We got the puck, went down to their end, and we turned it over. Then they took the puck down to our end, and then they turned it over. And he walked away, and that was all he said. And I said, you know what? That's probably a pretty good assessment of the first period, where nobody seemed to want to take control. And then, Strathroy got the goal right in front of me with a beautiful shot, and then a cheesy one early in the second that went in off a skate. And that as they say, poked the bear, and they went off from there. So I think maybe the only reason they left the kid in net is that so many of the goals were so late in the game, and they had another one to play that weekend. That's kind of when you say to the goalie, it's like, hey man, we need you to take one for the team because Fred's starting tomorrow night. So anyway, I agree with Chess. The only real complaint you had about the hockey club was that they just weren't scoring a lot of goals, and that was good, although apparently it didn't carry over.
No.
So you go into London Saturday night, you lose 3-2 there. Hodkinson and Elzinga with the goals. Calhoun stops 22 of 25. Only 3 penalties all game. I was surprised
Shocking.
reading the box score on that one. So,
Yes,
that was
very unlike St. Mary's London game for sure.
That's what stands out. The biggest thing to me when I looked at the box score was like 3 penalties between these two teams. Come on,
0 power plays for the Lincolns. 0 against.
Wow.
There could have easily been half a dozen, and there definitely was some unhappy people behind the St. Mary's bench for a large portion of that game. There was some conversations with the Zebras here and there, but usually down there it's pretty even game with the referees. Usually the London fans are on the refs way more than we are because they're always in the box, it seems. But totally different game than what we've seen the last 3 or 4 years, and a lot of skill out there, a lot of speed. Again, just can't complain about the way the Lynx played. Intensity was there. Just again, it came down to the same goal scoring issues we've been having a lot. And they're just not putting it where they should be, not taking advantage of maybe making one too many passes. The shots weren't huge, right? What were they, 24 each, I think, or 26, something like that. I'd have to remind myself. I did have it here. 25 each. 25 each, right? So, not a typical London St. Mary's game. So, it's tough that we didn't come out of it with a point. I thought we played well enough to get one. They did have one kind of fluky goal that went up in the air and came down and hit Brogan's back and went in. That ended up being the game winner, I believe. So, other than that, strong game from him again. And I thought the team played well. Just kind of got snake bitten with the goals. Lincoln Moore being out, maybe that hurts a little bit against a team like London more than it does against Strathroy, obviously. But again, a lot of good things. Would have been nice to steal a point or two.
Yeah, with Lincoln Moore is a huge loss for you guys. Big, strong sniper. Having him out of the lineup at any time definitely is a detriment to you guys and a benefit to the opposing team. You guys retain 4th in the power rankings. Now, this is as of October 19th. I think the new ones are coming out either tonight or tomorrow. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But Chatham has shot back up from number 10 all the way up to number 4. They're now tied with you guys in the power rankings again. You've got Elmira at 1. St. Catharines and Cambridge are both tied at 2. Then you guys and Chatham are at 4, and then Stratford's at 6. So very, very tight in the GOHL right now at this time. So, but anything else, Chester, before we let you get to watch the Jays?
Looking forward to that. Just we got Chatham Friday night here, so that'll be unfortunately it's Halloween. It might affect the numbers a little bit at the arena, but
maybe a few
most
younger
of the kids will be done by. It'll be dark by 7:00 anyways. So
that's
hopefully
true.
Everybody gets over there because it's going to be a good game. They kind of put it to us way back in September, 5-2. The game got away from us at the end, but I think we'll see a much better effort this Friday night. Looking forward to that game, and then back in Kamoka for the second time in 2 Saturdays. Saturday night. So.
I see that. So
again, I think it's a weekend that we're hoping to get at least, be nice to get 4 points, but three would be really acceptable. Anything less than that, but we'll see what happens.
Well, best of luck with your 2 games this weekend, Chester, and thanks so much for coming on. Chris Chessel with Chester's Perch, St. Mary's Lincoln's recap. Chester, thanks again.
All right, boys, have a great week and enjoy the game. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
See you, Jess.
See you,
boys.
Next up, we got Dave Graff in the queue for his Chew on That, coming right up.
Chew on That with Graffer. Brought to you by Work Pub and Eatery. Get a taste of tradition and charm in our family-run pub. From hearty dishes to cold drinks, we've got everything to make your visit memorable. Located at 75 Wellington Street, Stratford.
Fellas,
Look at this.
how's it going tonight?
Is that
Got
Mike
the
Wolf?
shirt.
He's ready to go.
Yeah.
I thought that was Bill Matish there behind the plate for a
Well, I-
minute.
Billy
I thought I
O'Brien?
looked more like Brian Hawley. I was expecting a compliment, but anyway.
To be honest, I thought Glenn Greensides was alive and well and living in
That's
your
right.
basement.
That's right. That's right. No, how's it going tonight?
Love
Good,
it.
guys?
Love it.
Good.
How you doing, Graffer?
Good. Yeah. Just, I put the mask on tonight for, kind of shield myself from the topic I wanted to talk about. And that's the, just the overall treatment of officials in minor sports and not I know we just had Clarkey and Chess on for the junior hockey reports, and I'm going obviously lower than that. I mean, we're talking grown men when they get to that age, and people pay money to go down and yell at the referees, and they do what they want. But I saw a headline, or I was talking to somebody, I can't remember, but it was earlier last week, just after our last airing, and it was either something I read or was told about. There was another game canceled somewhere because there was no referees for a hockey game.
Wow.
And I want to say it was down the other side of London, but London, Windsor way. I can't remember. But, I got thinking, and I did a little bit of search in there after that. And, I want to go through a few examples here, and then I want to read a little quote here from the OMHA just recently, I think late last season, not this season, but late last season, and get your guys' input. And I'll start with hockey. And some of the headlines, when I went back and looked, and this is from just after COVID, right through up until earlier this year, late last season. And some of the headlines, referee shortage has put hockey on thin ice, minor hockey on thin ice. Bad behavior has driven referee shortage in parts of Ontario and Northern Ontario. And I go back to COVID, and, I ran the Silver Stick tournament there for a number of years. And I think it's the first one we had after COVID. And I had all the midget on the B pad it was the Molson pad at the time at the rec center there. And it's maybe a period and a half into the first game of the tournament. This would have been 2021, right after COVID. You think everybody's great. We're back playing hockey. We're back in the rink watching hockey after a year and a half almost of not doing that. And not a year and a half, but probably a year, close to a full hockey season. And I have someone come in the room that was helping me out on that pad. I was in the games room at headquarters, and they said, ref's got the game at a stop until you get rid of a fan. And I thought, till I get rid of a fan. Okay. We're just getting hockey going again. We started at 8:30. It's 9:15 on the Friday morning, and I got to go out. The referee grabs me. I go 5 feet out in the ice. He points at a guy who's still yelling and pointing at the ref. And here I am on the ice pointing at a guy and giving him one of these at 45 minutes into the first hockey tournament back from COVID. And I'm thinking, these people don't miss a beat. Yeah. Right. And, and just you hear about some of the shortages, and then I'll flip over to ball quickly, if you don't mind. I'll go through some examples there.
Go ahead.
And, I know all kids umpire, and Holly and Shanker are still umpiring a bit, and I still umpire when needed. And, I ran the 03 team all the way up, as Hall's can attest to, because he helped coach the last couple of years, or he coached them the last couple of years. And when they were 12 years old back, well, it's 10 years ago now, but, I was encouraging a lot of them to umpire. And these two things really stuck with me. 3 of the kids umpired one ball game, and Barry Gradley would attest to this. He would have been the UIC then as he is now. Pitching machine ball games at Optimus Ballpark. 3 kids. And I probably had about 8 or 9 off that squad umpire. And my kid and a few others did it for several years until they got bigger part-time jobs, gave up umpiring. 3 kids didn't umpire another game. 1 game, said no. $15 to get yelled at for an hour, never again, or an hour and a half, whatever the time limit is. 1 kid said to his dad, thank goodness I get to wear a mask behind the plate because the players couldn't see my tears.
Wow.
They're 12-year-old kids. Maybe that's too young. That's a different argument. That's a different topic. Maybe they're a bit too young at 12, but they're doing 7-year-old, 8-year-old minor rookie kids that it's a pitching machine, for crying out loud. They don't have to call balls and strikes if the machine's working. They just stand there, pitch one, pitch two, and they're still getting yelled at. Whether it's a play at home, a fair or foul ball call, whatever. The kid says to his dad, I'm glad I had a mask on so the kids didn't see my tears. Like, come on, And I know it's still gone on since. It's still going on today. And, there's another one, and this was one of our very own that is also an umpire. He got so heated one night in Woodstock several years ago, I don't know when it was, that the mother of the young kid umpiring stopped the game and said, until you leave, this game doesn't start again. If you don't leave, my kid's off the field and the game's over until the coach left. Right? Like, and I know it's hard. You guys know, and I coached with two great guys all the way through.
Yeah.
Joel Boersma and Toddy Hine that know, and Halls knows, I wear it on my sleeve and I'm as competitive as they come. And it takes a lot not to want to, but you got to take the highway here, take a deep breath, especially as coaches. Parents, they're a different animal. I mean, they got to be controlled. And unfortunately, the umpire of a ball game, as Brian and Shanker know too, sometimes have to make that call to eject a parent from a park too. But even with young umpires and coaches, take that deep breath, be the bigger guy, and show the kid at the end of the inning, even after the game, what the mistake was. Listen, we all know NHL officials, major league umpires making hundreds of $1,000s a year, and they should. Why do we have instant replay? Because they screw up often.
Right.
Not sometimes, often.
Oh yeah.
When I say screw up, it's an honest mistake. They're human. It's human error. And we go to replay and it's overturned, right? Football, but we're talking baseball and hockey. I'll stick with that. They're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why can't parents and coaches see that these kids at 12 years old, even 18 years old, Ian Shank at 40, whatever years old, they're going to make more mistakes. They're not making hundreds of $1,000s. They're not in pro sports. They're going to make many more mistakes. So shut the frick up and be the big guy and help the kid out. Help, even if it's an older fellow that's getting on top, help the person out instead of losing it and causing that scene. And one other one, and this is the best one I have. I'll finish here before I get to the quote I want you guys to give input on. This is the best one, and we all know Barry Grasby, or I don't mind mentioning Barry's name because he wouldn't care. Great guy that's done years and years of umpiring in chief for Stratford, and Halls and I have coached with us. Razor, you probably played for him. I played for him in '86. He said to me one time, and Halls might know the story better than I do, and I don't know if it was Barry or somebody who knows that umpires, but this umpire was so sick of listening to the one coach questioning a strike zone from the bench. Think about that for a minute. That finally this guy called time, middle of a batter, maybe after an out, went over and sat beside the coach on the bench and yelled out, "Play ball." And the coach says to him, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, apparently you can see the balls and strikes a lot better over here than you can from behind the dish. Play ball." But does that not tell a guy, if that doesn't tell a coach right there to shut the fuck up, stop, just stop, and Clarky said that when we were talking there in our chat the other night about, Bob sees stuff on TV on a Saturday night and he's yelling and screaming. He carries that over to a ballpark or a hockey rink on Sunday. And now it's at a 12-year-old kid. It's not yelling at Austin Matthews or a referee in an NHL game. It's yelling at a 12-year-old kid. Right. And Bob can't even skate, Yeah. So my point is just stop being Bob. Don't be a Bob. Be the better guy and help the kid, or further, if you can't help, then shut up. Then just shut up. And I'll just read this quote, and I want your guys' input. And this OMHA released this last year, and it's an on ice official who is an OMHA executive. He says, whether it's a U10 house league or a U18 AAA travel game, many officials feel they are being treated in a manner that is completely unacceptable. If we continue as a hockey community to head down this dangerous path, we will be left with many of our young, dreaming hockey players without a place to play, as there will be no officials there to referee those games. And he even says, maybe that's a little over dramatic, but it's happened. Not widespread, but the threat of it's there, and it has happened. So if 2,000 people hit on this, or 1,000, if 10 or 20 of those will just admit, or not even admit, but think, you know what, maybe I'm that person, and just stop. Just stop. Leave, just stop being that guy. Let the kids make a little bit of money and not go home crying, or not crying, but not go home upset and not want to do it again. Right. So I'll leave it at that. Over to you guys.
Well, the thing is, when you sign your kid up now for hockey, the parents and the coach got to take respect in sport for a reason, Graffer. Yeah. And it's funny you say that about, and all these kids now refereeing, if they're 16 years or younger, they got to wear the green armband to prevent parents from yelling. And at our ACES meeting there, they said you get one warning. If you yell if a parent is caught yelling at a 16-year-old or younger wearing green bands, you're automatically out of the arena. It's just get out.
Good.
And
that's a good start. That's a good start. Yeah. Great start.
And getting to your point about the umpiring and refereeing, some of these small towns like Stratford, you only have maybe 10 umpires or 8 umpires that can do a certain age group. And you have a tournament going on all weekend, you're going to see the same face game after game. Yeah. And if that umpire's had a bad game or he's tired and it's 30-degree weather, he's tired. He's he's going to miss calls.
Yeah, and if he doesn't want to come, if you berate him enough that he doesn't want to come back again, now you might not have a tournament because you don't have umpires.
And I remember
that's exactly what Barry will tell you.
Back in June, it was a Saturday night, and I think I was on my 3rd midget game of the day, wore out, tired, and I had a fan in the first inning questioning my strike zone, like top of the first. And I just remember turning around saying, dude, this is the top of the first inning. Yeah. What can you possibly be bitching about? He goes, oh, your strike zone. I said, guess what? You're going to watch it now across the street from the volleyball courts, or this game's over. I don't have to be here. I choose to be here because I love the game. Yeah. And the coach is like, oh, sorry, man. Like, this is not right, but your zone, it was a bit shaky. I said, coach, see ya. You're going with them now too. Yeah. Like, they don't learn.
Well, and that's not even getting over the top yelling and screaming, and look at what you got to put up with in the top of the first already.
And I said to the guy's wife after, in between innings, I said, it's the first inning. Can you guys just relax?
Yeah. So I did go ahead, Razor. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, like, working at the rinks and ball diamonds for 30 years, I was a little bit shocked when we finally put up the signs at, I think they're out at Packham Road, but we had to put up signs at the rinks for sure. Yes. Because of parents like that. Yeah. We had to put them in the so we had to put them in the hallways of the rinks, and especially by the referees' rooms, because at some of the rinks they're actually assigned referees' room, and parents would follow the referees all the way back to the dressing room, and we had to put signs there to remind the parents, like, hey, look at, like, these are kids, or even if it is, a men's league or something, like, back off, right? Like, you think you can do a better job, put the bands on and away you go. So it's unfortunate that it's come to that, because, I'm sure you guys can allude to, growing up as kids, it just didn't seem that we had these problems, back in the 70s and 80s that we do today. I don't know if it is, like, Clarky had said, Bob watches too much TV and thinks he's an armchair umpire or referee. Like, I don't know what has brought it all on, but I know.
Why does that person think he is, right?
Right. Like, just take a look at the statistics. Like, I was doing some research. The numbers are down almost 50% in some provinces, like you said, since COVID, according to Hockey Canada. Obviously, the biggest reason is abuse, but kids now today are schooling, other jobs. But you look at, there's no better. I know both my daughters used to time keep. They wanted those iPhones. Well, you better get out and work and contribute towards it, right? But there was no better way. You didn't have to go and work at some fast food joint. You were getting paid cash, right? And didn't have to pay tax on anything. So I don't know. I thought, as soon as you told me about the topic you wanted to bring up, I thought, bang on. And because it's something that's taken place nationwide.
I just, and yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks, Razor. And just before I flip it over to Paul's quick, but another good example of how, misconstrued people can get. I was on the plate with Schmitty's young boy, Eric there. No, it was post-COVID. I don't know how long ago, maybe even right before COVID. So Schmitty would have been it would have been right before COVID. He would have been about a 15-year-old kid. He's on the bases and Kitchener's playing Waterloo. And I'm not even afraid to mention the name, but one of the bishops was coaching the Waterloo team. And, one of the families over there that, of course, like a lot of families over here, think they know everything, think they're the greatest thing in ball, whatever.
Yeah.
We're doing this game, and it's maybe the second inning. Kitchener's up 5-0 already in Waterloo or something. Anyways, his team's up a few. And Schmitty's on the bases, and the Kitchener kid clearly comes off the bag on a ground ball, right? And Schmitty got in the one spot in his position, but just with the way the play went, he was blinded. I was out in front of home plate watching the play. Clearly could see the first baseman was pulled way off the bag. Wasn't even close. Schmitty did call him out. And right away, the Waterloo coach is like, hey, time. And I love this. The Waterloo coach goes over to Schmitty and says, hey, can you go ask your guy behind the plate? Because he did come off the bag, right? And Schmitty goes, sure. And he called time. And he came into me. And Halls and Shanker, I don't even know if I can overturn this. I think I can. But it was so clear that right away I said to Eric, yes, he pulled off the bag. So I actually made the call, and I did the old, he was off.
Right.
Whatever, right? Right away, this bishop comes running out, and he's yelling, and I'm thinking, what is happening? I said, two umpires get together and get a call correct, and you're running out here already up 4 or 5 runs. Not that should matter, but you're running out here screaming like a lunatic in a freaking Saturday morning game of a double knockout tournament. Well, the funny thing is, I had to warn him because I listened to enough of him. I said, listen, Bish, you're gone. I don't care. I'm not going to listen to this, right? Well, I get called the next day. They're in the semifinals or something up there. I got to leave Dufferin because I was convening it too. Vaders calls, didn't want to deal with it, and I don't blame him. He calls and says, can you get up to Cirque? We can't get Bishop off the property because he went snapped in another game. And I'm like, when do these idiots learn?
Yeah.
So just another example of stuff still going. I know that was a few years back, but it's still going on today. And Halls, I'm sure you got a few examples too of.
Well, funny you mention that, Graffer, because I can recall a game that I did at Cirque, and it was a U14 game involving Kitchener. And funny if I was the one who kicked him out of that game. It was the final.
Okay, you were up there umping. There you go.
I was on the plate.
Yeah.
And they were screaming that the left-handed Cambridge pitcher was balking.
Right.
And we're just saying, no, it's not a balk. You can keep yelling. And he's like, his first base coach is yelling. They were 14. And the first base coach is a big dude, bigger than I am. And he's yelling at the pitcher, you're balking. And we're going, dude, shut up. He's not balking. So Bishop comes out, and right beside Steve Vaders, he says to me, he says, well, you're obviously incompetent. And I said, I beg to differ. I am competent enough to throw your ass out of this game.
And wouldn't he go across? He wouldn't go across the street, would he?
Wouldn't go across the street.
Yeah.
See? So that's hilarious that you mentioned that, because I know exactly who you're talking about and exactly the tournament, because I was the guy that threw him out in the final. His team still won the tournament, won the championship.
Yeah, they did.
He watched it from the soccer field across.
Good for him. What a shame that he probably feels good about winning, because he should feel about this high and not take any satisfaction in winning, because he was such an asshole.
Some guys don't get
the whole
it.
Weekend.
Some guys don't get it. I remember. I mean, it's a subject that is near and dear to me. The one that you bring up, Graffer, and I think my favorite story that illustrates it is this one. I wasn't doing the game. It was U12 at Dufferin Arena, and there were 2 young umpires doing the game. Now there's a ground ball to third base, and the kid, it goes right through his 5-hole, and the coach, to his credit, yells out, "That's okay. Get down, work down, and then work up, get in front of the ball, block the ball." So another inning goes by, and another ground ball goes down, and he gets in front of the ball, but he bobbles it and can't get the throw off in time to get the guy out. And the coach, to his credit, yells out, "Good job. You blocked the ball, and all you got to do is just, keep it close and throw it over. We'll throw the guy out." So in the 5th inning of that same game, and I'm just there watching as an evaluator of the 2 young umpires, ground ball down to third, the kid gets in front, fields it clean, throws it across, probably gets him by a half a step, and the kid calls him safe.
Yeah.
This same coach, who was being such an admirable guy about encouraging his 12-year-old player, comes flying out of the dugout to start berating a 14-year-old kid because he blew a call at first base. And finally, I had to grab him and say, listen, what is wrong with you? You have just done such a fabulous job nurturing this kid into making a play at first base. This kid makes one mistake and you lost your mind on him. Yeah, what is wrong with you? I don't understand why there's a difference between how you treat a kid who's a player and treat a kid who's an official. There should be no difference. I hate the culture in hockey. I can't stand it.
Yeah. 2 years old, and that ump's only probably a year or two older than the kid
first year umpiring. Yeah, that's why I'm there to make sure he's okay.
And I love that example because I'll finish on this because I love that example. I was doing you'll remember this too, Halls, game 3. Stratford was a heavy underdog against Cambridge, the 06 fellas, a few years back, probably I think their first 16 year or whatever. And they go in this best of 3. Cambridge was sandbagging because they didn't want to go further away for the OBAs. So they went single A, and Stratford got the flip and won the home game and pulled out game 1 at home and lost in game 2. So came back to game 3, and I did the plate in that game in game 3. And I was warned the Cambridge coach was whatever, and I said, that's fine, whatever. And you know, and Shanker and Halls, some nights you feel like you got your strike zone down pretty good, and the game's going. And there's nights where you're fighting it. You're fighting the strike zone. Absolutely. And this was a night as an ump that I felt I had a great strike zone all night, and the game was going good. Stratford's up, I think, 4-2, bottom of the 6th, and top of the 6th, sorry. Cambridge is up to bat, 2 out, couple guys on base, and the guy up to bat looks at strike 3 with 2 out. And I mean, this ball didn't catch part of the plate. It caught all plate. And, I give him the old 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Home third base coach walks by as he's going to the bench. Fucking brutal, he says.
Really?
I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I just heard that. Let it go. Went, got my drink of water, blah, blah, blah. True story. You can't make this up, guys. But this is the effect that 2 words from that coach. This is the effect it can have on it. 2 words. Bottom of the 7th, top of the 7th. Stratford doesn't get into the 6th. They're still up a couple. I forget the exact score. Might have been up 3 at the time. Might even have been 4-1. Beckham's going for a complete game, the young McLeod kid, throwing his ass off, throwing a great game. Leadoff guy up is their 4-hole. I think it was their 4-hole. Big kid that threw for him. Halls will know the kid I mean. He goes 3-0 on him. Not even close, right? I'm behind the plate saying if this ball doesn't hit the fucking bowl, it's a strike, right? 4th pitch is 3 inches low and 5 inches outside. Straight 1. Right? Coach is down at 3rd, throwing the arms up, doing this. 5th pitch of the at-bat, 6-3 put out. See you later.
Wow.
And Cambridge gets a couple guys on and did score 1. I think they came within 2, but Stratford still won 4-2. But if that guy walks, who knows what's happened. But my point being, did I make a bad call? I sure did. But guess what? 2 words that guy said on a great call I made to end the inning before caused that 6-3 put out. He doesn't say a word. That kid's standing on first base. Is that wrong of me? 100% wrong of me. But that's the effect a coach's behavior can have on a game when he thinks he's being smart to the umpire. So
that's one of the funny parts, eh?
Yeah,
I've done it before too. Yep. Especially with the other catcher. Do you really think
that's getting you a call? Do you really think mouthing me off is getting you a call?
Exactly.
Oh, boy,
yeah.
He's yelling at me. I better do him a favor. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
It's not getting you a call. It's getting you a call against you. Sorry, pal.
It might.
Right.
It's even better when the catcher is mouthing you off because you can sit there and just say, where'd that miss? I said, it didn't miss. But if you want to keep mouthing me off, they're going to be balls. So shut it.
Keep chirping.
Yep.
Hey, guys, listen.
All right, Graffer.
Everybody out there, get down to work for a couple pints. You don't got to wear one of these in there because you're all good in there. No need for protection.
The 40s love to see your pretty 40s faces. Love you.
Thanks, guys. Go Jays.
All right. Dave Graff for Chew on That. Thanks, Graffer. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Go Jays. Let's have some videos from our sponsors, and then we'll have our final words.
Railside Organics, Stratford's first and only Indigenous-owned and operated organic dispensary, located at 29 Monteith Avenue, serving those in need with holistic remedies. Come say hi to Curly and his staff and see why everyone is recommending Railside Organics. Call Bick Heating and Cooling for all your heating, cooling, and plumbing needs. Proud Rude Pro partner. BickHeatCool.com or 226-921-4848. Your home team specialists. Taking care of Stratford and area since 2013. Vred Painting, servicing Stratford and surrounding area. With over 20 years of experience to help you with all your painting and decorating needs, on time and on budget.
Okay, another entertaining segment with Graffer. Chew on that, man.
We could have talked about that for hours.
Yeah. It's like, you're sitting at work or something, like the bar work. We have a couple of Kool-Aids talking about that, but yeah, such a good topic that he brought up. I'm glad that he brought something like that up, because a lot of people don't realize what's going on unless your kids are actually umping or reffing. And so it's good to bring to light a situation that is being affected all across the country. So any final words, boys, before we go and watch the Jays win Game 3? Shanker?
6-3 Toronto tonight.
6-3, okay.
Yep.
Scherzer pitches a gem?
I think so.
All right.
You got more confidence in him than I do. I don't think Scherzer pitches a gem. I think he's going to scrap and claw and whatever, but I can't see him not giving up a couple of home runs tonight. Again, I talked earlier, I thought the Jays were going to get at Glasnow a little bit tonight, so I'm looking at like a 6-5 ball game. Toronto will have to win tonight to have any, as far as I'm concerned, they got to win tonight to have a chance to win this series.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely. They've got to, you don't want to get into a situation where you've got to come home and win 2. Let's get it over with and maybe come home for Game 6 to win it. But looking for the Jays to take 2 of 3 in LA and then bring her home to Toronto so we can have another victory party. So I'm Gary Ray for Ian Shank and Brian Hawley. Thanks for tuning in to episode 4 on the Unmuzzled Sports Podcast. Cheers.
Peace.
See you guys.